Hey, welcome everybody to the Life and Leadership Podcast. I'm David Gadberry, and I'm so glad you're joining our leadership community. You know, life and leadership, what it's all about is the idea of looking at leadership through the lens of real life. You know, so much of the time when we talk about leadership, we talk about it as if you can take these principles, these 7 principles, and you can apply them to your life and everything's going to turn out great. But a lot of times it fails to have context. And so what we want to do with this podcast, with guests that we're going to have and different teachings that we're going to do, is to look at leadership through the lens of real life. Because we know each and every one of us have potential. We have treasures of potential on the inside of us, and we want to help you reach that. We want to help to bring that out of you. But the only way to do that is to truly look at leadership from a real life perspective. So the ups and downs, the failures, the successes, we want you to be a part. Every Thursday, we're going to release a new podcast, and we'd love for that to come directly to you. Here's how that happens. If you go to YouTube or iTunes and you subscribe to this podcast, and when you do that, it'll bring it right to you every single time we release one. And we'd love for you to do that. And then if it helps you, if it adds value to your life, go and rate it. Give us a review. Tell us what you think. We'd love to hear the feedback from you, because we really want this to add value to your life. So thank you for being a part of Life and Leadership. So today, we're going to talk about our first topic. And what the next few podcasts are going to be about are healthy leadership. And so I've got, I think, 8 to 10 characteristics of healthy leadership. And here's what I've come to realize, you know, after leading for 30 years, and doing a lot of different types of leadership, I've come to a place of realizing in my own life, and then not only my own life, but a lot of leaders that I know and a lot of people that I know and people who are trying to lead and be effective in leadership, is I've learned that successful leadership is not always healthy leadership. Now, let me clarify that successful leadership, when I say successful leadership, I'm meaning leadership that truly looks successful. It looks like they're getting everything right. It looks like they're getting good results. But what I have found to be true is that not every successful leader in appearance is truly a successful leader in life. And the reason is because there's not a lot of health in their life. They've chased this dream. They've pursued this dream. They've gone after whatever it is they're trying to achieve. And the question is, at what expense? Now, I'm just going to be honest with you. If you're going to be an effective leader and you're going to have any kind of success, there's going to be a lot of work required. There's going to be a lot of sacrifices made. There's going to be a lot of risks taken. That's the way it works. You don't get it otherwise. But the truth is, there are some things you should be willing not to pay. There are some costs that you should not be willing to sacrifice. And so I think one of those things is family. I think one of those things is integrity and honesty. There are so many things we need to consider when it comes to healthy leadership. So I want to just take these one characteristic at a time. And today we're going to talk about healthy leadership. Healthy leaders are leaders who dream. Healthy leadership are leaders are dreamers. There is so much importance in having vision and vision casting. A lot of people don't know how to acquire it. A lot of people don't know how to define it. And a lot of people don't know how to cast it. And now, I'm not one of those people that believes that everything about leadership is about vision. Sometimes we treat vision as if it's synonymous with the word leadership, and it really isn't either. Vision is where we're going. That's basically what vision is. I'm a leader, and leaders are navigators. And so I've looked out into the future and I've got a clear vision of where I'm going. That's what vision is. And then you use that vision that you have, whether you view it as, a God-inspired thing or not. If it's just a you-inspired thing, I'm a pastor, I'm a leader, I'm a Christian. So I come from a faith background. So if you're watching this and you're not a believer, or you come from more of a secular background, don't let that offend you. A lot of these principles will work across the board. A lot of them are from my faith background, from a biblical perspective, but they will work in every place. So I don't want you to be offended by that or draw away from that. I'm not going to push my faith down your throat, but I'm not going to back away from who I am either. So I want to encourage you with that, I feel like that the vision for my life is God inspired. I really do. I feel like that God has told me this is what I want you to do with your life. And as far as I go, what I feel like my vision is I believe that my vision is to help people reach the potential that they have. God's given me this insight. I feel like it's a God-given gift where I just like if there's some giftings test that they do where one of the giftings is perceiver, and you can perceive and discern things, and I have a very high rate in that. And I think one of the compliments to that is that I can see potential in people. And even sometimes where other people might go, I don't know what you're seeing, but I can see it. And then I become passionate about trying to draw that out of them. And so that is truly what I believe my gifting is. And I believe that you have a vision. I believe we all have a vision. Our vision is where we're going. And every healthy leader has a healthy vision that has clear motives, has right motives, and ultimately, I believe, will lead a leader past the place of success to the place of significance. Now, significance is really where I want to be. I don't know how you feel about it, but it's where I want to be. Now, let me tell you the difference. I heard somebody say the other day the difference between success and significance is success is all about us, but significance is about others. And so the goal is that whatever vision we're inspired by, wherever we're trying to go, whatever we're trying to achieve, if we're a healthy leader, our vision will be healthy, which means it'll ultimately move beyond just being about us and our personal success and achievement for me. And it'll move into the realm of how is this impacting other people? Even if it's in the business realm and it's about a product or it's about the bottom line or it's about finances, really you're thinking about making a good way, a good living, a good thing for the people who are working for you. Maybe you're thinking about giving an excellent product to your community, to whoever your target market is. But the motivation changes and it shifts if you're a healthy leader, because if you're a healthy leader, what's in you comes out. And if you're healthy, then what the things that you do are going to be healthy. So I think vision is where I'm going, but it also then, for the good leader and the healthy leader, it becomes the tool to motivate and move people who you're trying to get to go with you. So healthy leaders are, people with healthy vision. So some things to think about vision are, the idea of how to acquire it, how to define it, how to cast it. So I want to just touch on those three things. Number one, how to acquire vision. I think one of the ways that we acquire vision is to get in touch with ourselves. A leader, to know where they're going, they have to know who they are. Because I believe your vision is an extension of you. If you're a leader, your vision is an extension of you. You say, well, what if I'm leading a company and I become the CEO, I'm hired as the CEO or the president of the company, and we have a certain direction we're trying to go? Well, the truth is still that vision is going to come out of you. So regardless if it's for this company or if it's, for a certain organization that you're working for, the truth is the vision is going to come out of you. And a lot of it is going to be born, if you're leading, is going to be born out of your norms, your values, your giftings, where what you're trying to achieve in life, not for yourself personally, but for that company. And in order for that to happen, you have to know yourself well. Now, let's talk about people who are, maybe not coming into an already pre-existing company, but they're a person who is starting something. Maybe you're an entrepreneur, and maybe you're trying to start an organization, or you're trying to start a business. Or how do I acquire a vision? How do I get a hold of that? Well, again, you start with you. What are your giftings? What do you feel passionate about? What do you feel strongly about? What makes you angry? What are things that get under your skin? What are things that cause you to get up in the morning? Is there a direction you're trying to go? Is there a great idea that you've come up with that you've thought, man, I cannot let this idea go? All of these are, components of acquiring vision. If you are a believer like me, one of the components of acquiring vision for me is prayer. Asking God to help me, give me understanding of who I am and where He's taking me, where He wants to go, and submitting my life to that. If you're a person who that's not the route you go, then one of the things you can do is to sit down and just imagine and just think about what is it you want to achieve? What is the greater thing that you would like to accomplish? There's a scripture in the Bible, Proverbs, and it says, without vision, people cast off restraint. So the idea is if we give vision, clear direction, clear understanding about where we're going, that's how people grab a hold of it. And we'll talk about that a little bit in a minute about casting vision. So how do I acquire vision? Get in touch with myself, understand what my giftings are, understand what it is I'm passionate about, understand what makes me angry. If there's something that makes you angry and you can't let go of it, it just perturbs you, and there may be an indicator there of something you need to do. I'll give you an example. I went to Cambodia and interacted with some people who were doing that. They were rescuing young kids out of the sex trade and restoring them and giving them counseling and all this kind of stuff. And I went and sat in their organization and saw everything that they were doing. And I won't even go into it, but it was overwhelming. But I didn't get compassionate at that moment. I wasn't this guy that went, oh, I feel so sorry for them. I did feel sorry for them, but it wasn't like that. That's not the feeling I got. The feeling I got wasn't, how can this be? What are we going to do? The feeling I got, I'm just going to be honest with you. And as a pastor, this might be something that I should work on. But I got angry. And all I could think about, because I was looking at the 5 and 6 and 10 and 14-year-old little girls, all I could think about was my daughters. And if someone took my daughters and put them in this situation, I don't know what I would do. But it made me angry. And it wasn't just a kind of an anger that was just, I'm mad. It was a deep felt righteous indignation that said, not only something needs to be done, but we will do something. So sometimes there are things that make you angry that are giving you an indicator to where you need to go, what vision you need to have, what direction you should be going with your life. I think so much of the time it is so, graduate high school, go to college, find a career path, get a degree, get in that career path, and hope to make some good money, live your family life. And it's so sad because so many people go that track, which there's nothing wrong with that track. That track is a good track if you know where that track should be taking you. But what's so sad is many people go through that and they come out on the other side and they're not happy with what they're doing. It's not really what they want to do with their life, but now they feel, I've put all this money in, I've invested everything, and now I've got to go down this track. They're not happy. They start living just in survival mode instead of thriving and living for purpose and having meaning in their life. So the idea is to find out why you were created. Why were you put together? What direction should you be going? What are the gifts and passions and callings and personality traits that you have that would take you in that direction? And going to college and defining a career path can be a part of that. But it's important that we understand there's more to it than just getting a degree and going and getting a job. So I want to encourage you, acquiring a vision is about getting to know yourself. Acquiring a vision is about understanding how you feel about certain things. Acquiring a vision is knowing your personality traits, understanding your giftings, functioning in your skill set, realizing what you're passionate about, what angers you as a person, and allowing those things to be like little indicators, little roadmaps, little demarcation points in your life that say, this is the direction you should be going. I remember very clearly when this happened for me. I was planning a church. I was very young, about 25 years old. I was planning a church. I really had no clue what I was doing. And I went through this process to find out what is my life mission. As I went through this process, it really narrowed everything down for me. And I came down to one sentence for my life, and that is producing the potential in people. I believe that's my call. I believe that's my vision for me personally, producing potential in people. So everything I do, you can see that. You can, pastoring, you can see that. The global reach stuff that we do, you can see that. The business, the coaching company that I have, you can see that. I'm just looking for people who it's trying to define their potential and helping them reach it, helping them become everything they could become. So let the things in your life that are flags to you, cues, clues to who you really are and where you need to go, be that for you. And that's how you, in my mind, you acquire vision. So how do I acquire vision? That's how I believe it's done. The second thing is acquiring vision, defining vision. This is probably the single most important thing you're going to do is define vision. You have to figure out where you're going, because that's what a leader does. A leader navigates. They look out in the future. They make the map. Leaders aren't the people who follow the map. Leaders are the people who make the map. That means that the ground you traverse is going to be difficult. It means the ground you're going to go down is you're actually clearing the path. You're actually the one trying to figure out what direction we should go, where we should go, when we should go, and how we should go. That's the responsibility of the leader. You're not the person reading the map. You're the person making the map, and you need to get that in your head. So how do we define our vision? How do we get clear on our vision? Well, I think you have to keep this question in your mind. Where are we going? For a long time in our church, I had values, but I was calling them vision. I was calling the values that we had vision. And truly, I got a clear understanding of vision as where are we going? So your vision, how to define it, you have to clearly, specifically say where you're going. What is it you're trying to achieve? Where are you trying to go? What are you trying to do? Your values are who you are. It's how you're made up. It's what's important to you. Your vision is where you're going. Then you need to define it. It needs to be clear. It can be simple, a simple statement. It may not be simple to do. It may be complex, but that vision statement needs to reflect the clarity of your vision. Now, I'm not one that believes that you can. It's not as simple as just saying, or easy as just saying, this is our vision statement and everybody's just going to get a hold of that. No, we got a vision statement and this is where we're going and it's that easy. No, it's something that has to be reiterated over and over and over again. It has to be repetitive. It has to become your culture. It has to become everything to you. This is where we're going, and everybody needs to know this is where we're going. And the only way for that to happen is for you to define it. You have to define it, and it has to be clear. Because if you have leaders on your team and you're trying to develop them, but you're not clear about your vision, they'll create their own definition for your vision. Because they want to see success, they want, not just for you, but for them, for the organization, and they're going to get it one way or the other. And if you're not clear about what your vision is, they will become clear for you. And then what you end up having is 2 visions and 3 visions and 4 visions and people going in all different directions. And you think to yourself, why is this happening? Why don't I have a better, why aren't we moving forward in a better way? Because probably what's happening is you have people on your team that are going in different directions because they have different visions, not because the vision is actually different, but because you've been unclear about what it really is and you haven't defined it in clear enough terms for them to grab a hold of it and run with it. There's that scripture in Habakkuk that says, write the vision, make it plain so those who hear it can run with it. Well, I can't run with something that's not plain. I can't run with something that's not clear. So define your vision. Well, how do I do that? Sit down, take time to think about it. Don't be trite and don't be silly and don't be quick. Take time, think about it, process it. Write everything you think it is out and just, I don't care if it's pages and pages and pages, and just continue to refine it until you can hear it, until it resonates in your mind. This is where we're going. And it's clear. And you could read it from any direction. And you can read it from any perspective. And you can read it from any place in your organization. The person reading it will understand the same thing. Remember, communication is not just speaking. Communication is not just listening. Communication is mutual understanding. And so your vision has to be something everyone understands the same thing about. And so that's how clear it has to be. Think it through, process it, bounce it off of one another, listen to trusted voices, get a clear understanding, let people touch it, feel of it, taste it, know it, give you feedback on it. Don't just do some kind of mechanism and come down with the vision and no one else is touched and then you just go, this is it. Because I promise you, if you don't have some feedback in this process, you're not going to have a clear vision. So I want to encourage you to do that. Then the last thing is casting vision. And I probably can't spend enough time. I could probably do a whole podcast just on casting vision. But remember, healthy leaders are dreamers. Healthy leaders have vision. They think big. They have big dreams, but they are clear about what those dreams are. And vision has levels, and it has goals, and it has consistency that has to be involved in it. But in order for your people to follow your vision, you have to be a good communicator of vision. So the first thing you have to do is you have to be repetitive. Now, the hard part for leaders, or at least for this leader, is I get bored with it. When I say I get bored, I don't get bored with the vision because I love and I'm passionately committed to the vision that I have in my life for the different organizations of my life. But I get bored communicating it. And so you have to really become creative at how you're going to communicate. You have to communicate it from all different angles, from different perspectives. You know, it's like when you communicate or you give a talk or you preach a sermon or whatever, you always want to have deep ends of the pool and shallow ends of the pool. In order for you to do that, you have to really think about the people you're talking to, your audience, understand your target, understand who all is going to be listening from what perspectives, and just have this thing that says, hey, I'm going to try to really touch everybody with this. If you do that, then when you communicate, you'll come up with a lot of different creative ways to communicate it. And then you're just going to have to be patient and consistent. Patience and consistency these are not flashy and fancy words. I know when you're talking about leadership, you just want, it's almost, there's so much hype out there and there's so much, watch this and make this amount of money in this amount of time. But listen, all that is, it's bogus. Oh, it makes us feel good and we jump on board and then we figure out, hey, I'm making somebody else rich here, but what about my life and about the vision of my life? There's some really good stuff out there, but there's some really hypey stuff out there. And I'm just going to tell you the stuff that is really significant and successful in leadership. It has no hype to it. Matter of fact, it's boring. It's mundane. It's words like consistency. It's words like patience. It's words like continual improvement. Those are the kind of words. So when you're thinking about casting vision, then right about the time you feel like, I don't want to say this another time. Why do I have to keep saying it? It's like with your kids. I know when my kids were coming up, I would just always say, why I have to tell you this more than once? And that's such a foolish question. If we are the teachers, we are the leaders, we are the vision casters, of course we have to say it over and over and over and in many different ways and be creative with it, because the whole point is until they have it, I know this is going to be profound, they don't have it, right? Until they get it, they don't have it. And so our job, our role isn't to go, man, I don't understand why they don't get it yet. Our job is to say, why haven't they gotten it? Maybe I haven't led them there. I love what Craig Rochelle always talks about. One of my favorite leaders. He always says this. He says, you should never blame people, but always ask the question, have I led them there? So a question of like, why do I have to explain this again? Truly is not a very smart question. It's just a waste of time question. So you have to get really consistent, really persistent, incredibly creative, and say that vision. Put that vision on paper. Use that, do that vision on video. Communicate that vision face to face. Speak that in your messages and in your talks that you do to your corporation or your organization. Put that vision in there. Every time you get a chance to speak, slide it in somehow. Make it a part of the message. It's just something you have to do if you're gonna if you're going to really be a healthy leader, you're going to have to be a leader with vision and with dreams. Here's why. And I'm closing with this. Here's why. Because leaders who have dreams are healthy, because dreaming is about hope. I think Bill Hybels said that leaders are hope dealers. That's what we deal in, is hope. Healthy people are people who aren't cynical. Healthy people aren't people who overcome with sarcasm. Healthy people are people who are hopeful. Hopeful people. People who want things to turn out well. People who are assuming the best. People who dream about possibilities and dream about innovations and dream about how things could be and should be. That's a healthy heart. It's not a person who's frustrated all the time, and a person who's aggravated all the time, and a person who's cynical about life. I know there's a lot of things to be cynical about. Right in our culture right now today, there's so many things to be cynical about. I fight it myself. But the truth is, if you're going to be a healthy leader, you need to be a hopeful leader. And hopeful leaders are dreaming leaders. So vision is important. So that's what I have for you today. And I hope you enjoyed that. Please, if you have any questions or you want to comment, please comment. And don't forget to subscribe and review and rate. We'd love for you to be a part of our leadership community. And you know what? If this is adding value to you in a practical way, then please share it with someone else. And remember, we're not trying to come at leadership like these principles are going to work, put these in a package, put them in a box, they're going to work in your life. No, we want to talk about the real things. And I'm just telling you, if you're not a healthy leader, a hopeful leader, you're going to have problems as a leader. And I can just tell you this from experience, and next time I'll share some of those things with you. So make sure you do that. I did have one question we had several questions that we had access to, and I just want to answer one question today before I go. And that is, how do I create a leadership culture right where I am? Well, that is 12 podcasts. So I'm only going to just try to give you a couple of things. How do I create a leadership culture right where I am? Well, here's the thing. I heard not John Maxwell, I heard Brian Houston say something the other day that I thought, this is profound. And I'm not sure, when I saw people commenting on it, I was thinking about myself, I'm not sure we truly got it until I really thought about it some more. It sounds like a really flippant statement to say, like a little colloquialism or something like that. But the truth is, it was so profound what he said. And that is, you can't create culture. You can only be culture. Now, think about that. Well, of course you can create culture. If you want a culture, you have to create it, because you have to, if it's not what you want, you have to change it. And that requires creation. But what he was saying is this. You can do all the methods of creating culture you want, but unless you are it, unless you as the leader are the culture that you want people to experience and you want people to become and you want people to practice, it will not happen. It has to be born out of you. It has to be exemplified by you. It has to be modeled for everyone to see, if that's what you want the culture to be. Culture requires repetitiveness. Culture requires consistency. Culture requires saying no to things that aren't a part of the culture. Culture requires saying yes to the things that you want, incentivizing good culture, and not incentivizing bad culture. And so I would encourage you, whatever you want your values, your norms, your way of doing things, your DNA to be, that's your culture, then man, be it. Be it. Model it, because that's how it's going to happen. An analogy to look at it this way, I don't remember who gave this analogy, but I'm just going to say John Maxwell, because I think I read it in one of his books. But we are not thermometers, we are thermostats. Leaders aren't thermometers, we're thermostats. In other words, we don't tell the temperature. Everybody knows what the temperature is. We set the temperature. In other words, this is what we want the culture to be, so we set the pace for the culture to be that. If anybody can come and say, hey, this is where we're at, this is what we have, this is who we are. Well, that's not going to change anything just because you see it. You have to be it. So that's what I encourage you to do. So my answer to how do I create a leadership culture right where I am, be the culture you want to see others become. Thanks a lot. Thank you for being a part of our leadership community. Add value to somebody today, because the greater value will be added to you. I guarantee you that.